Hey gang, hope you're having an awesome day. Ryan here, back again with your daily dose of Reddit drama, the good, the bad, and the downright petty. If these stories make you laugh, gasp, or rage with me, hit that like, tap subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a new one. Alright, much love as always, let's get into it. Our first story of the day comes from Preference OK449 in the Am I the Asshole subreddit, and it says, "Am I the a-hole for blaming my fiance for Thanksgiving being a disaster? I'm sitting in my pajamas, fuming about this whole situation, and my fiance is acting like he doesn't have equal responsibility here. I need to know I'm not crazy." When I was about 4 years old, my parents introduced me to their friend Rose. She started spending a lot of time with us and eventually moved in. They were always very close friends and she was very good to me, but I didn't think anything was weird about it. A lot of people I knew lived with family, so I thought it was like that. When I was a preteen, they explained to me that they were all together. It wasn't polygamy or a sister-wife situation, but Rose was in love with and dating both of my parents. It was a little jarring, but I accepted it, and honestly, it didn't change much. Rose was still one of the people who helped me with homework, pitched in with dinner, taught me how to ride a bike, and so on. She was there for every big moment, even the sad ones. The only thing that changed is that they started kissing one another in front of me, but nothing gross, just a typical parent pecks or whatever. I knew this wasn't the norm for every family. My friends were fine with it when they found out. Not all of their parents were as understanding or accepting, but we were old enough that we could see each other outside of our homes, and it didn't impact me a whole lot socially. Twice, I had a boyfriend who found it weird, but it was revealed early on in our relationship, so it wasn't a huge heartbreak. I've been with my fiance for the past 3 years, and we've been engaged for 1. When we started dating, I explained my parents' situation, and he was cool with it. He's hung out with them and spent holidays with us. His family lives across the country, and they haven't been able to fly out to visit much. We've only afforded 1 trip there since I started dating. The first time I was meeting them, I asked my boyfriend to tell his parents about my parents and Rose and let me know what they said. He told me they were completely fine with it. Every time we saw each other, it never came up specifically, but I would mention Rose in passing, and no one seemed to mind. So I figured all was fine. This year, his parents were able to fly out for Thanksgiving. My fiance and I were hosting. My parents and Rose were coming too. Again, I thought nothing of it. Everyone was under one roof and everything seemed nice and merry. Then, at some point, I went to check on food, and when I came out, things were noticeably awkward. My fiance's parents, my parents, and Rose all looked uncomfortable. My fiance looked annoyed. I asked what was wrong, but no one would tell me. I awkwardly announced it was time to eat, and the meal was quiet outside of my parents and Rose engaging with me. My fiance's parents left for their hotel as soon as we finished eating and didn't stay for dessert. I was even more confused. My mom eventually pulled me into another room and explained that while I was checking on the food, she, my father, and Rose were talking about a trip they're taking. My fiance's parents looked confused, and my fiance's mom asked, "Rose is going with you?" My mom had said, "Of course," which seemed to disturb them. My mom then said she explained that they were all in a relationship together, which further disturbed them. She told me she was hurt. I lied by saying his parents were okay with them. It wouldn't have changed that they came, but they would have been more careful not to make it awkward. I told them I didn't lie at all. My fiance told me they were okay with it. She apologized for accusing me, and I apologized for her going through that. She, my dad, and Rose left not long after that. My fiance and I got into a huge argument after this. He said he didn't know how to tell them, so he just didn't. I told him he's been lying to me for 2. He lied for 5 years and put everyone in an uncomfortable position. I asked what his parents thought, and he had told them Rose was my aunt who lived with them to save on rent. I asked him what he expected to happen. My parents and Rose aren't making out and in people's faces, but when they're in what they assume are safe spaces, they act like they're in a relationship. He claimed it was all on his parents for being weirded out and making it awkward. I said no, this is on him. He lied to everyone and made it terrible for everyone. Sure, his parents could have acted more normally, and they are at fault for not recovering and trying to have a nice meal. But he's still more at fault. He just doubled down and said he didn't do anything wrong. He is now mad at me and says that I shouldn't be blaming him for this and should just be mad at his parents. I am just so confused and lost and wondering if I'm going crazy by being mad at him. You know what blows my mind? The sheer audacity of some people to put their heads in the sand, nod along, and then act shocked when the truth comes out. Like, what the hell was your fiance thinking? You've been really upfront about your parents and Rose right from the get-go. Honestly, a dream when it comes to open communication. But then this guy decides to just not tell his parents? I mean, what's the plan there, buddy? Wait until they're face to face with the reality while you're checking the food? And the worst part is, his solution was to concoct some aunt living there to save on rent story? Are you kidding me? This isn't some sitcom plot. This is real life. He left you high and dry and then has the audacity to act like his hands are clean and it's all his parents' fault. Seriously, It's like setting off a firecracker and then looking surprised when it explodes in your face. I feel for you. You're not the one going crazy. He created this mess by withholding the truth and then blames everyone else when it blows up. You deserve someone who respects your family dynamic enough to be honest about it, not someone who hides behind half-truths and excuses. If you're as mad as I am, let me know in the comments. This dude needs a reality check, I swear. Someone says, your fiancé is so obviously in the wrong here for exactly the reasons you identified. There's not even any evidence his parents were embarrassed about the polyamory. They could have just as easily been embarrassed that their son had lied to them. OP responds, yeah, I haven't spoken to them, so I obviously don't know their thoughts. If it was just a lot to deal with at once, or if they felt embarrassed for initially being nasty about being confused over Rose attending the vacation. A Reddit user says, your fiancé is definitely in the wrong. Original poster, beware of marrying a person who cannot 1. Take accountability for their actions or lack thereof, 2. Displays cowardice, and 3. Avoids confronting uncomfortable situations. In my opinion, there are few things more disgusting than a coward or someone who shifts blame. Usually, it places the woman in the position of being the one to run everything, or the family ends up being overrun by situations that should be resolved head on. I'm watching a friend deal with this very dynamic for over 30 years. Beware, young woman, especially if you intend to have children. If nothing else, consider lots of premarital counseling. A Reddit user says, you are not the asshole. I'm not in this relationship, but I am in a long-time polyamorous relationship. We've always lived our lives openly, but when my son started dating, I checked with him to ask if we should present ourselves as monogamous. He said no, so we never did. When he got married, we'd hang out with his in-laws whenever we were in town. Now, we have a grandchild, and all three of us in my polycule have grandparent names, and our grandchild will just always know us as his grandparents. Part of what helped us was that all our families are LGBTQ+ accepting. OP responds, this is what I have been hoping for, so it gives me hope that it can and will exist one day. A Reddit user says, not the asshole. Your fiancé is at fault for lying. I won't blame his parents for their reaction. You are going to see similar reactions in the future if you decide to move on. Your normal won't be other people's normal, so be prepared to wait longer for the special one with whom you and your family will be comfortable with this situation. Hoping you are able to resolve this with him and he accepts who you and your family are. OP responds, I won't be surprised if they're uncomfortable. As I said, I've dealt with this before with other people, so it's not the end of the world. My family and I have learned to navigate that. It's just the fact that he lied and put us all in a situation that made it awkward. A Reddit user says, question, all three of them are together, but you said it's not polyamory. Isn't that literally what polyamory is? But yeah, you're not the a-hole. He shouldn't have lied. What did he expect when he knew both his and your family were all going to be at the same dinner table? OP responds, I said it's not polygamy, which is when they are there to serve the man. They're also not claiming to all be married to one another. It is polyamory. The day after Thanksgiving, the OP has come back with an update, and here's what she has to say. Hey everyone, so I'm here with an update. Before I get into how the talk with my fiance's parents went, I want to answer some questions that a lot of people kept asking. 1. Why didn't I tell his parents myself about my parents and Rose? This was a decent point. While I still don't believe it is my fault for what occurred, I did understand the point of view that this was my situation, my family, and it's something at minimum we should have done together. I guess when it comes to situations like this, people's parents finding out about my own, usually friends, they just do it for me. It's not something I ask them to do. They usually ask me permission before our families meet, and I say yes. I thought it'd be easier if my fiancé told them before our arrival, so it wasn't just me word vomiting. Hi, nice to finally meet you. By the way, my parents are in a polycule. But looking back, yes, I can acknowledge I should have offered to tell them as a couple. That being said, if he felt that uncomfortable doing it alone, I wish he would have told me. 2. Do his parents think my parents and Rose are related? I feel really stupid for not thinking about this at the time. In my family, aunt is a term used loosely. It doesn't mean parent sister. I have a lot of aunts and uncles that aren't related to my parents biologically, but were close, influential figures in my life, thus the titles. So when I found out they assumed Rose was an aunt, my mind just went to family friend. But Jesus Christ, realizing they probably thought this was a flowers in the attic type situation, no wonder they freaked out. I feel dumb for not even considering this. 3. Some have said that this situation is unusual, and even if they don't assume this is a Folgers coffee holiday commercial, it's natural that they may need a minute to process, or that they may never accept it at all. Many asked about religious or cultural reasons. His family isn't religious, nor do they come from a conservative culture. That being said, I can understand why this is odd to people, and why they may need a minute or have a hard time accepting it, even without those things. I think I just got protective of my parents and Rose in the moment, especially seeing how hurt my mom was in that moment. Yes, she's used to it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't sting when you are rejected. We're all human. At the end of the day, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. I am also entitled to my feelings. I totally understand not everyone will accept my family. That doesn't mean I'm not allowed to be hurt by it. If I can't police anyone else's feelings, thus that goes twofold. 4. Someone asked, what if you never found a partner who accepted this? Or what if you never found a partner whose family did? And the truth is, I don't need their family to accept it. Just be respectful. As for a partner, I thought I had found one who was, and even if I never did, well, I'd rather have my family any day. Anyway, on to the update. As per point 2, I realized the context they were lacking may be playing a part. So early this morning, I texted and asked if we could meet up and talk. They were all for it. I went without my fiancé, as we still weren't really talking. We met for breakfast, and the first thing I asked was for them to give their side. As most of you expected, the weirdness and judgment they were giving was because they assumed Rose was my mom's sister. They actually seemed relieved when I explained the whole story and are supportive. They want to properly re-meet my family, which I said was sweet. I didn't want to get into the whole, I don't know where your son and I stand, as that wasn't their problem. However, his mom did clarify. So, fiancé's name, knew the real story this whole time and lied? I was honest and said yes. I said maybe I should have made sure he actually told them, but his dad actually interrupted and said if he promised to tell them, then it was on him to say it. They were both very disappointed in him. They actually said what a lot of you did, even if he lied for all this time. He should have spoken up when things got awkward and smoothed out the situation. Or even grabbed me too. They felt even worse, but I told them it wasn't their fault. Given the context of the situation, I don't blame them for acting weird. The meeting ended on a positive note. We were all supposed to have lunch later on, but given everything with my fiancé, I didn't feel great about going, so I had him go alone. I told his parents ahead of time, and they understood. When fiancé came back from the lunch, he apologized. He said he wasn't sure how to tell them and kept meaning to. He also kept hoping it would naturally come up. I pointed out it wasn't that he just didn't tell them, he actively lied. Of course, they never suspected Rose was anything more than an aunt in my stories, because that's the lie he planted. He was sincere in his apology, but then he mentioned he got a tongue thrashing from his parents, and I wonder if he would have apologized had they not told him what a jerk he was. I said I understood if he felt weird about telling them, but he should have told me. We could have navigated everything together. Instead, he let it explode, then did nothing to help clean it up, nor did he take accountability until his parents scolded him. He made my parents and Rose look bad, made me look even worse, and most importantly, he lied to me and his parents for 2.5 years. How am I supposed to trust him again about anything? I listed some of the examples you guys gave. He got quiet and said he understood, but he wanted to rebuild the trust. I asked if he was really okay with my family dynamic, and he insisted he is. He says he loves my family and really has no issues, he just didn't know how to tell them. I said I want to believe him, but you can never fully trust a liar again. He asked what we could do to fix this. I said I needed time. He offered counseling, and I said I'd consider it. We had started planning our wedding a few weeks ago, but that has been put on hold indefinitely. I had been living with him since the engagement, but I'm back with my parents and Rose for now. I have to decide if this is something I can live with going forward. It's only been a few hours, so I genuinely have no idea if I can forgive him for this and move on. One person said, hopefully this will be a funny story one day. Remember the Thanksgiving where your parents didn't know who Rose was? And I don't even know if I could ever get there. I love him. I thought he was my person. I don't want to throw it all away, but I need space. If we move forward with the relationship, we will absolutely be going to counseling. I told him even if we break up and I don't go, he needs to enter therapy for his conflict avoidance. He didn't disagree. He also called my parents and Rose to apologize. They were civil, but I know they are not happy. Fiancé's parents, however, have invited them out to a do-over dinner before they head back to the West Coast, and with my blessing, they're going. It'll be nice if they can be friends after all this. That's where we are. Everything is so fresh and I still don't know what I want yet. Going to take the holidays to reset and rethink about a lot. Thanks for all the advice. A Reddit user says, no one can foresee how this will play out, but I think what you're doing is the best way forward. You justifiably need time to sort through your feelings and decide what you're comfortable with, and what he does with his time will be telling as well. I think you dealt with this perfectly. You set the record straight with his parents, and everyone was civil and polite. I'm glad that they held their son accountable, and honestly, a decent, understanding set of in-laws is an amazing thing. Or at least I'd imagine so, because mine are god-awful, and it's the worst. It's also really great that they want a chance for a second first impression. Both sets of parents sound awesome. One thing I will commend him for is not just giving wanting to work things out lip service. He's offered to go to counseling and even asked you how to fix it instead of doing all these things hoping it's what you want to see or hear. Good luck figuring things out, and I hope you have a great time over the holidays. A Reddit user says, his parents were gracious enough to invite your parents and Rose to dinner. You're right, your boyfriend needs therapy. It's strange that a grown man couldn't talk to his parents. It sounds to me like he's embarrassed by your parents' lifestyle. He just doesn't want to admit it. I think you're doing the right thing. Being lied to for so long is troubling. Good luck. Our last story comes from No Fuel 946 in the AITA subreddit, and it says, "Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend because of his mom's behavior? Hello, I, a 21-year-old female, have been dating a 23-year-old male for a year now. For context, and this will be important, my boyfriend is Albanian. I am also from the Balkans but not Albanian. My boyfriend and I both share similar cultures and come from Muslim families. My family is religious but not overly so, and they are very passionate about our culture. We live in the Nordics, and I've grown up here, so my parents have always let me adhere to the culture here instead of the one back home. They've let me study what I want and allowed me to go out as much as I want. Basically, they have not limited me. My parents celebrate Eid and other Muslim holidays but don't strictly follow the Quran, which is Islam's religious scripture for those who don't know, although they still read and respect it. My boyfriend's family is different. They're very religious and pray, and they expect a woman to cook and clean and do nothing else, as that's how they think women are supposed to be. This part is about culture, not religion. When I first started dating my boyfriend, I was very clear that I live alone, am studying and working, and go out with my friends a lot. He said he was fine with that and told me about his family, but assured me he is not the same way as they are, and that he's interested in me and nothing will get in the way of that. He also said that his family would have no problem with me not being Albanian. We started dating a little while after we first met. I met his mom 6 months into the relationship and the rest of his family. They were very sweet in the beginning, and his mom liked me a lot. I don't know how to cook Balkan meals besides the basics, and I was happy to learn from her. She even taught me how to make traditional dishes that take a lot of time and practice. Everything was fine and perfect, but it all began when, for my boyfriend's birthday, we celebrated with his entire friends and family, around 50 people, and I wore a long-sleeved knitted dress down to my knees and black boots. Mind you, other women there had similar outfits. After the party, his mom took him aside and said, I quote, "Tell original poster to find a cardigan from your sister's drawer because she looks like a kurva and I don't want people talking." Translation, whore. Sounds worse in our languages. My boyfriend took me aside after that and told me. And I was shocked because I've never even had my own father tell me something like that. But I obliged because I didn't want to make a scene in front of people. The second strike was when I dyed my hair black. Not entirely black, but with a blue tint because previously I had a reddish tint and wanted to even it out. When his mother saw the picture I posted on Facebook, she texted him and asked him to convince me to go to the salon next week and to pay for me because she just doesn't like it. This time I said no. I asked him why he was telling me all of this instead of defending me. He says he can't do much because it's his mother's opinion and he can't go against her word. We had a long talk and he said this wouldn't happen again and that he would talk to his mom because he's the one who's dating me and won't let her talk about me like this anymore. The third strike happened when she asked me if I wanted to go to the mosque with her. I politely told her I'm not connected to religion like that, but I'd like to learn. We went, and she taught me how to pray, or tried to. When we both went home after that, she called me and said she had a fun time, etc., and that she'd prefer if I went with her every week and learned how to pray properly so we could do it often. I told her I can go with her once in a while, but making it a full-time thing isn't of interest to me. I believe in God, but I'm not connected to Islam so deeply because I've never been exposed to such an extent. For context, she knows this. My boyfriend told me she'd called him again to complain and to get him to start taking me instead or getting me to warm up to it. I told my boyfriend no because I think it's wrong for me to go and pretend and force myself when I can't give it my all. He said he'd talk to her and later he told me he did. The fourth strike was when she told me over tea that she can't wait for me and him to have children and settle down. I told her it wouldn't be for a while because I graduate from my bachelor's in a year and want to do my master's as well. My boyfriend was there too, alongside his brother, and none of them said a word. I looked to my boyfriend and he just said, "Yeah, you told me that too." Mind you, we've discussed this multiple times and he's told me that his mom didn't mind us waiting on kids, which meant he didn't tell her and was trying to make it seem like I was also on board with having kids and getting married immediately. The fifth and final strike, I went out to celebrate my friend's birthday and we went to a restaurant. I had a cider. I posted the food to my Instagram story and you could see my cider bottle. 15 minutes later, my boyfriend calls me frantic and says he's picking me up because something happened. Obviously, I excuse myself because he sounds panicked. I seriously thought someone had died or gone to the hospital. He doesn't say a word and drives to his parents, where his entire family is sitting there like we're politicians about to have a meeting. They sit me down and his mother tells me that I need to get my act together because my boyfriend won't be with someone like me who prioritizes living life and wasting away instead of getting married and staying at home. My boyfriend was silent the entire time and didn't look at me. I got up and left. They were all calling for me, and I didn't even put on my boots properly or my jacket. I just got out, called an Uber, and left. I texted my boyfriend in the Uber and told him it was over because he's well aware of how I am, what my goals in life are, and the way I live it. I told him his mother isn't the boss of me and I'm dating him, not her, and that I won't sit here and have her go all stalin' on me. I blocked him. I feel guilty because I love him, but at the same time, I can't be with someone who's either lied to their mother about my lifestyle and tried to make me seem like an idiot in front of her, or let her willingly say and do all those things as if I'm a first grader being scolded by my teacher. I'm conflicted because he's even contacting my friends, asking them to tell me to unblock him. His mom even texted me and told me that I should do what's best for me and her son. In all my anger, I told her to piss off in a not so nice way. Got called a curva again, but I don't really care. So, am I the a-hole? Sweet Mint 12 says, not the a-hole, holy hell. May this type of mother-in-law never find anyone reading this. Oh boy, I mean, come on, you really couldn't make this up if you tried. But first, what a wild ride that story was. So now you face the whole cultural showdown, the in-law drama, and the entire emotional roller coaster that is dating. I think we can all agree you're in a tough spot, but hey, standing your ground in the face of a mom who's trying to go all dictator on you? Bold move. All right, people, let's get interactive. Tell me, am I crazy or was that just outrageous? Drop your thoughts below because I know you've got them. I mean, how many red flags can one person wave, right? If you're all about this kind of emotional whirlwind, smack that subscribe button for more tales that make you go, what the hell just happened? Catch you in the next rant. And trust me, I know you wouldn't want to miss it.